always a pleasure to talk to Eugene because he's at the coalface in a sector and a country where real and concrete reforms are happening in the financial sector. There's a lot of dispute about how fast reforms are going in other parts of China's economy, but in the financial sector, they are real. Some would like to see them faster and happening more quickly, but you're at the coalface, as I say. Give us a brief recap of how the business for UBS performed in China in 2020. Which parts of the business did particularly well for you, and which areas of the business would you like to see perform better in 2021?
Well, to pick up where you left, because of the accelerated opening of the Chinese capital markets to foreign investments and foreign capitals, we've seen last year, for example, the IPO has been relatively strong. For both the A-share market, including Shanghai Stock Board IPOs, there has been several hundreds of them got listed across Shanghai and now Shenzhen, Chinex, under the registration system, which is more akin to what is practicing in Hong Kong and New York. At the same time, we've seen a returning of the Chinese listed ADRs to Hong Kong market doing IPOs there. And as well, at the same time, we're still seeing some not too small number of Chinese private sector companies continue to pursue the US listings. So we played in all those three different flows in the IPO market. We are a leading investment bank in equities and IPOs. So we've seen that part of the business doing well. Then moving to the secondary market, because of the relaxation of QFII rules, so foreign capital coming to China, investing onshore has made it much easier. And in terms of the all asset class, broadly speaking, are all open. So we've seen consistently a stronger inflow to China. And at the same time, we're anticipating with China more willing to open its capital outflow gradually, we've seen some pickup in the southbound and the QDI and others picking up again. So that's the area we see will probably pick up in the new year, i.e. the outflow in an orderly manner.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, I guess a strong yuan is part of the calculation for policymakers there. In terms of the numbers of inflows, we can put some stats on it. 135 billion of inflows into bonds come September of last year, 12 months, that's a 12-month number, and equity is about 155 billion, September to September of 2020. What is your outlook for inflows into bonds and equities for this year?
I think with the relatively stabilized RMB or forecast of the RMB exchange rate, in fact, could it be a little bit stronger during parts of the 2021. I think you will see continuation of the inflow into the Chinese government bonds, particular, and also finance company bonds. I think this is where you offer international investor a reasonable yield plus kind of on the standard alone risk-free rate kind of a global bond, right? So this is one thing. The other thing is continuation of the flow into the Chinese equity market shall continue in the new year because of the continuation of the enhance of the percentage in certain indexes globally, and also Chinese company on the whole has been doing well with the back, kind of a Chinese economy bounce back faster or recovering sooner, and a lot of the sector playing really well. So that means you'll be reflected in a large number of companies already forecast a big earning jump in 2020 versus the forecast, et cetera, et cetera. So you will see continuation of those inflows.
Okay, and you did talk about outflows. I believe that's the first time you've talked about outflows since we've spoken to you at the UBS Greater China Conference. What is the significance of that? How comfortable are policymakers here with allowing greater outflows, and what are the opportunities then for a business like yours?
Well, basically, there is a genuine demand of a Chinese institution and a Chinese wealth population, if you like, to genuinely pursue global diversification, geographic or asset class, or what have you. And with that kind of genuine demand growing stronger, and with a relatively stable yuan, as well as the stable Chinese capital markets, there is less of a concern on the regulator side to say maybe now is a time to relax a little bit. So hence you have the new QDII, new runs of quotas being given out. We were one of those recipients. So with those kind of relaxation of the policy side, you see this genuine demand be more likely to be satisfied in 2021 as opposed to in the more recent past where the exchange rate was kind of in a question and the yuan was kind of weakening, if you like. And going forward, I think the trend is very clear. China do want to see the two-way capital flow in and out. And China do want to see more international investors come to invest in China and see there's no reason to hinder them from leaving anytime, anyway, freely. So from that standpoint, the kind of free flow of capital or partial relaxation of the capital counts, I think it's kind of happening.
You've been a beneficiary, of course, of the IPOs, the strong IPO pipeline that we saw last year. What is your outlook for IPOs for 2021? And to what extent is the financial decoupling we're starting to see now, the capital market decoupling between the US and China, proving a catalyst for IPOs on the mainland and Hong Kong?
Well, the decoupling actually benefit both the Asia. There will be a larger number of Chinese companies seeking domestic IPOs as well as IPOs in Hong Kong, as opposed to go straight to US as the one and only choice. On the other hand, the decoupling also put a pressure on those listed ADRs to return to Hong Kong and return to Shanghai and Shenzhen in the next year or two. So we will see more of those flows. At the same time, I would still say there will remain some number of Chinese private sector companies who may not be too sensitive or who may still see US market as a more natural home for their listing. And we're continuing to have those business in our pipeline. So we will play in all three locations, i.e. domestic Asia, Hong Kong, and as well as US listings. I think that will remain strong in the new year.
Wealth management is another big part of the business, obviously, for UBS. What is the progress there? What are the restrictions? What are the hurdles? What is your AUM target for wealth management? Can you give us a steer for that for 2021?
Well, actually, wealth management is our group's premier and it's our group's first and foremost business. We are the global #1 wealth manager globally. In China, we've long been set as our strategic goal to grow, expand our onshore wealth management business on the back of exceptionally strong global presence as well as APAC wealth management. We are #1 in APAC as well. Now, we've seen some very good progress being made in the recent year, especially in 2020, on the back of a strong IB business, on the back of a strong Asia market performance. So we've seen growth in AUM, seen growth in client flow and client investment activity last year already. I would like to see this trend continue, and we are confident in year 2021 with the two-way again. There's more room for Chinese wealth, the high net worth and ultra high net worth, to freely move part of the asset offshore. At the same time, bulk of the asset shall remain onshore, and we're still looking for more attractive investment opportunities domestically. Okay. So we see a lot more growth here.
Okay, Eugene, you have 51% control of the business here. This is a question I put to you every year. Are you interested now in taking full control? Because many of your rivals are starting that conversation.
We always looking very closely at what is allowed policy-wise. Now it is allowed. We always constantly review this situation, opportunities with our fellow Chinese partners. We enjoy the partnership we have had in the past, but we will update you when there is a development.
What is the time frame?
We look at constantly. In fact, we will look to potentially increase the possibility of that and reviewing with our shareholders right now.
And would you look to a joint venture around asset management?
Well, I think we're open, as our top leader mentioned, we're open for all business potential, finding the right partner, doing the right partnership deals in China in order to pursue growth. This is too important to us.